Hey, what is going on, guys? This is SMEB Reviews, and today we are taking a look at the third studio album from Shawn Mendes, self-titled. Let's get to it. Shawn Mendes, honestly, is an artist that I don't really mind. I know a lot of critics really pan his work, especially a lot like Treat You Better. That's an excellent example of just a panned critical song. And while, no, I think that's probably one of the weakest in his discography, it's still not that bad, honestly, especially when they pan his vocals, because I actually really don't mind them. They're not the best vocals, I'll never say that, and he definitely does have some squeakier, really nasally, higher delivery. I mean, all of his delivery is nasally, but it's whenever it gets higher, it does get worse, but it's got a little grit to it. It's got something different. And while I can see how it's not everyone's thing, it's still different. It gives us a different kind of vocal style in a pop scene that desperately needs something different. And I feel like just looking, whenever I looked through the Hot 100 last year, just looking through all of, or the year in, sorry, the year in Hot 100, just looking through all of the songs and listening to them, Shawn Mendes stood out for one reason, because he's just different and unique. That voice is different and unique, and I like it. Now, I say this, whenever he gets into those upper and more bombastic registers and sounds, that's when he shines, in my opinion. He can do the lower or more laid back approach, but it's not quite as powerful, and sometimes it works great to mesh those two. So the lead off single for this album, In My Blood, is an excellent example of that. It is a song that's a little slower, and then it gets to the chorus where it really picks up and it's bombastic and it's full and it's a really powerful sound. And I honestly think it's one of the best tracks on this album because he gets to use that really unique sound that he has. So, what did we get with this self-titled album? Obviously, I liked In My Blood, but full disclosure, that's probably the weirdest song on this album. All of the songs are very laid back, very slower and more relaxed approach. In My Blood definitely stands out. It doesn't really feel like it fits with the album, I'm not gonna lie. It's probably one of my favorite tracks, but it doesn't feel like it fits. It should, all of the tracks really just don't have that bombastic feel. And what did I say about having not, about when he doesn't sing very bombastic? It's not that interesting. Not to say it's bad, it's by no means bad, but it's not interesting. It doesn't set him apart from any other artist of a similar pop sound. It, I mean, he might take a different approach on it, but regardless, his voice just isn't interesting enough in those less bombastic approaches that it just doesn't work, honestly. And that's unfortunately what we got on this whole album. In My Blood, as I said, combined the two sounds and worked perfectly. None of the other songs really do that. Now, there are some decent tracks on here besides that song, but that's not to say that they're all just great. I honestly, like I've said, I actually like Shawn Mendes. He has his flaws, and I'm not going to say that both of his last two albums have been masterpieces. By no means are they. And the hits aren't all that great. Stitches is, nah. Treat You Better is one of his worst songs, as I said. But there are still really good songs in there, like There's Nothing Holding Me Back. That's one of my favorite Shawn Mendes songs. And so it's just really disappointing to see he lost that bombast. And it didn't all have to be those arena rocker kind of sounds. I'm not asking for that. It's just he needs to have some kind of excitement in his voice. And all of these songs are so laid back and so relaxed. And it just doesn't work for his styling because he's just not unique enough in that softer register. Because I Had You is honestly a decent, more relaxed and chilled out song. But unfortunately, it hits a ton of cliches. He sings, I took her to all the places that we used to go to. And yeah, that's just another cliche. Honestly, the whole song sounds like a cliche, and while it's one of the more tolerable tracks, or at least the more definite, like, this works well, because some of the songs, and I'll get to this in a minute, just don't really work excellently. But this song, it works well, but it has so many cliches. It's got a very cliche sounding guitar riff, and it's got just a ton of overused lyrics that don't add up to anything. Regardless, it is still a decent track, and I do kind of like the lyrical content. Again, while I said some of it's cliche, the general idea of just trying to, of having like, seeing an ex or something with their new relationship and going to the places that you used to go to and then trying to move on from that and having to do those things yourself. Yeah, it's a decent song. I don't really mind it. It's something a little different on the whole breakup take. So hey, it's fine. I don't mind it. So, as I said, some songs just don't work well. And what songs are those? Well, an excellent example is Nervous. Nervous is kind of funky, and I don't think it's awful, but it just doesn't work well together. And it was co-wrote with Julia Michaels, and I don't mind her. She's had some decent co-writing songs, and honestly, the track where they're both on here together is fine, actually. I don't really mind it. Again, it kind of touches in the cliches, but that's fine. Yeah, Nervous, it just doesn't. It's dorky, and I really don't like the sound of his vocal stylings. I don't really like the guitars. I don't like that song, and that's just a problem on this album. As I said, some of the songs just don't work. Perfectly Wrong and Mutual are two songs that are decent, but besides that, all the tracks are just meh. There's just nothing interesting there. Lost in Japan is fine. Where Were You in the Morning is fine, but besides that, he just genuinely doesn't spark anything interesting. There's so many pop artists making the same sound, and they're doing it better because their voice is at least unique. I do think that this is a good step for him. I think it's a good third album just because of the lyrical content. Because, yeah, the lyrical content is good while there are cliches. It's still decent. It's got some decent lines, and it definitely is got some interesting concepts, and I don't mind it. It doesn't work musically, and it doesn't work with him. I think it would be nice if he was writing these songs for another artist, like selling them to an artist, and he was just a co-writer. Then it would actually sound alright because that artist might be able to put their own vocal stylings and make it unique and make it interesting. Unfortunately, Shawn Mendes just didn't do that, and I really wanted him to. I am a big proponent for Shawn Mendes. I've always really praised him, but I just can't get behind this album. It just does not work. If he had more bombast, if he had more interesting moments, if his voice in general was more interesting in his softer register, yeah, it could have been good. Unfortunately, it really isn't. So that's why I'm going to have to give this album a 6 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching. What did you guys think of this album? Please let me know down below. Also, is there any upcoming albums that you'd like me to check out? As long as anything I can do to improve the quality of my videos. Sorry it's a little dark today. Also, sorry for the week off. I've been trying, but I was getting close to my graduation. Yeah, it just totally got me so busy. I just did not have time to work on some reviews. Luckily, I should have a more clear schedule back to hopefully 2 albums a week. So we should be good now. I'm sorry. I know it's been a busy month for me, so I apologize for the late album reviews, and I missed everything last week. Luckily, it wasn't too busy of a week, but thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think. Also, anything I can do to improve my quality. I'm pretty sure I already said this, so ignore me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.